Imagine you're a diver. You got the best equipment money can buy, a military grade wetsuit, a rebreather system you've driven hundreds of times. You know the ocean and someone just told you there's a shipwreck sitting 6,000 meters below you. You want to go and see it? Well, here's what actually happens. You hit 200 meters and your body starts to fail. At 300 the nitrogen in your blood turns toxic. At 500 the pressure is enough to collapse your lungs like an empty plastic bag. You never even get close. The wreck sits there, undisturbed in the dark, exactly where it's been for decades and maybe centuries. So what's actually down there? What happens to a ship and everything inside it when it sinks to the deepest parts of the ocean? First, let's get something straight. Most shipwrecks people think about aren't actually that deep. The Titanic, probably the most famous wreck in history, sits at around 3,800 meters. That sounds deep, and it is, but in ocean terms, 3,800 meters is actually the upper end of the abyssal zone. The ocean goes significantly deeper than that, and the deeper a ship sinks, the stranger things get. To understand why, you have to understand what the deep ocean actually does to things. Most people think deep water just means cold and dark, and yes, it's both of those things, but the real force down there is pressure. Every 10 meters of ocean adds roughly 1 atmosphere of pressure on top of what's ever already pushing down on you. At 3,800 meters the pressure is around 380 times of what you're feeling standing on land right now. At 6,000 meters it's 600 times, and at the bottom of the Mariana Trench it's over 1,000 times the atmospheric pressure. So what does that actually mean for a ship? Well, it depends on what the ship is made of, what it's carrying and how fast it went down. And when you start looking at the actual wrecks we found at these depths, the answers are genuinely disturbing. Let's start with the deepest confirmed shipwreck ever found. The USS Johnston was an American destroyer sunk during the Battle of Samar in October 1944. It went down in the Philippine Sea after one of the most lopsided naval engagements in World War II history. Outgunned and outmanned and surrounded, the Johnston kept firing until it couldn't anymore. It sank with hundreds of men on board, and for decades nobody knew exactly where it was. When in 2021 a deep-sea exploration team led by Victor Vescovo, the same guy who broke the depth record in the Mariana Trench, found it. Sitting at approximately 6,456 meters below the surface. That is the deepest shipwreck ever found by human eyes. To put that in perspective, if you stack 6 Burj Khalifas on top of each other and drop them into the ocean directly above the wreck, the tip of the last one still wouldn't reach it. And when the cameras finally reached the hole, what they found wasn't what most people expect from a shipwreck. There was no dramatic collapse, no implosion crater. The ship was largely intact, broken in several sections, yes, but recognizable. The bow was sitting upright on the seafloor. The guns were still mounted, and the equipment was still visible on deck. Here's why is that strange. At 6,456 meters, the pressure is roughly 645 times atmospheric. By every logical expectation, a hollow metal ship should be completely destroyed at that depth. And yet the Johnston looked more like a ship and less like a crushed tin can than anyone anticipated. The reason comes down to the rate of descent and the design of the hull. When a ship sinks fast enough, water floods the interior before the pressure differential can cause catastrophic collapse. The ship essentially equalizes and it becomes part of the ocean instead of fighting it. That doesn't mean it's preserved, not even close. Here's where it gets weird. The deep ocean doesn't just sit there and leave things alone. It eats them. Not quickly, not dramatically, but methodically. And in ways that feel almost deliberate. The first thing the ocean does to a metal wreck is rust it. But deep sea rust isn't like the rust on an old car or a garden tool. Down there, microbial communities, bacteria that feed on iron, colonize the hull almost immediately. They produce these strange formations called rusticles. The Titanic is covered in them, and they drape from the hull like orange icicles, and some of them several meters long. They look almost decorative, but what they're actually doing is eating the ship. slowly converting the iron into a crumbling biological material that disintegrates if you touch it. Scientists who have studied the Titanic's decay estimate that the wreck could completely be consumed by these bacteria within the next few decades. A ship that survived the North Atlantic that sat untouched for 73 years before anyone could find it could effectively dissolve before the end of this century. Not from pressure, no, not from cold, but from microbes the size of nothing eating iron in the dark. The deeper the wreck, the less we know about the exact rate of this process, but we do know it's happening everywhere. Now here's the question that actually keeps researchers up at night. What's still inside these ships? Because when a warship or a cargo vessel sinks, it doesn't go down empty. It goes down with everything it was carrying. The USS Johnston went down with ammunition, live shells and torpedoes, still sitting at the bottom of the Philippine Sea at over 6,000 meters. Military experts generally consider deep water unexploded ordnance to be relatively stable. The cold temperature and the pressure suppress the chemical reactions that would typically cause detonation. But the relatively stable is not the same as safe, and nobody has gone back to check. The Johnston is not an exception. There's estimated to be hundreds of thousands of shipwrecks scattered across the ocean floor globally. A significant number of them are warships from the First and Second World Wars, and a significant number of those carrying ordnance, fuel, and in some cases chemical weapons. During World War II, both Allied and Axis forces used chemical weapons including mustard gas and nerve agents. At the end of the war, a significant amount of this material was disposed of by loading it onto ships and deliberately sinking them. The practice was called ocean dumping and it was considered completely acceptable at the time. Thousands of tons of chemical weapons were sealed into cargo holds and dropped into the ocean. Those ships are still there, and some of them in relatively shallow water, and some are deep. And the steel hulls that are supposed to contain everything indefinitely are corroding at exactly the rate you'd expect steel to corrode in salt water. Which is to say, they're not going to hold forever. Fishermen in the Baltic Sea have pulled up corroded shells leaking mustard gas in their nets. And marine researchers have found mustard gas nodules on their seabed in the areas where these dumps are known to have occurred. The chemical agent doesn't just neutralize over time, it polymerizes and it turns into a thick tarry substance that can still cause severe chemical burns on contact. The ocean didn't destroy these weapons, it just stored them. But the military wrecks, as disturbing as they are, aren't the oldest things sitting on the ocean floor. Off the coast of Greece, in the Aegean Sea, there's still merchant ships sitting around 2,000 meters deep that have been there for over 2,000 years. Ancient Greek and Roman cargo vessels still loaded with amphoria, clay jars that once held wine, olive oil and fish sauce. The amphoria are still there, stacked in the hold and arranged exactly as they were when the ship went down 2 millennia ago. At those depths, the conditions are cold and dark enough to dramatically slow organic decay. The clay jars themselves are essentially inert. They don't rust and they don't rot. And because of the deep Mediterranean doesn't have the same destructive organisms found in shallow waters, the wooden hulls of some of these ancient wrecks are still partially intact. There are ships at the bottom of the Black Sea, a body of water with almost zero oxygen in its deep layers, where the wooden structures are so well preserved you can still see the carpentry and even the ropes and tools and personal belongings of sailors who have died thousands of years ago, sitting undisturbed in the dark. The Black Sea is genuinely one of the most archaeologically significant underwater environments on Earth. Because of its unusual chemistry, most of this water below 150 meters is completely anoxic and no oxygen at all. Organisms that break down organic material need oxygen to function, and without it, decomposition slows to almost nothing. Ships that sank into the Black Sea's deep layer were effectively placed in cold storage, and some of the wooden wrecks found there date back to 2000 3,400 years and are still structurally recognizable. For context, wooden shipwrecks in normal shallow water conditions are typically gone within a few centuries, and the one in the Black Sea have been sitting there since before the Roman Empire existed. And then there's wrecks that nobody talk about, because here's the thing about deep sea exploration. We have explored less than 25% of the ocean floor in any meaningful detail, or most of what sits down there we have never seen. The wrecks we know about, the Johnston, the Titanic, and the ancient Greek merchants, are the ones we specifically went looking for, or the ones we stumbled across during other missions. The ones we haven't found yet are almost certainly more numerous. Historians estimate that somewhere between 2 and 3 million shipwrecks exist across the world's oceans. The majority of them have never been located. Some of them sank carrying cargo that would rewrite what we know about ancient trade routes and civilizations. Some of them sank carrying things that nobody wanted to know. And there are documented cases of ships carrying gold and sensitive material documents and nuclear weapons that went down in the deep water and have never been recovered. The USS Scorpion, an American nuclear submarine, sank in 1968 in the Atlantic Ocean at a depth of around 3,000 meters. Well, it's still there, with its nuclear torpedoes and its nuclear reactor. The last time anyone checked on it in any meaningful way was in the 1980s. It's not the only one. The Soviet submarine, the K-129, sank in 1968 in the Pacific at nearly 5,000 meters. It was carrying nuclear ballistic missiles. The CIA actually launched a covert operation in the 1970s to try to raise it, a project called Project Azorian, using a deep-sea salvage vessel disguised as a mining ship. They recovered a portion of the submarine, but the missiles were not in that portion. The rest of the K-129 is still sitting at 5,000 meters in the Pacific Ocean. What all of these wrecks have in common is that the deep ocean has made them essentially untouchable. And it's not because of the darkness and not because of the cold, but because of the physics. Sending a human to 3,000 meters requires a submersible so specialized and so expensive that only a handful exist in the entire world. And sending one to 6,000 meters is harder. And sending one to actually do meaningful work, collecting samples and recovering objects, and inspecting structural integrity at those depths is one of the most technically demanding things humans are currently capable of doing. Which means that for every wreck we visited, thousands more are sitting completely untouched. The Johnston has been visited a handful of times. The ancient Greek wrecks in the Aegean get occasional ROV passes. The nuclear submarines are checked periodically for radiation leaks using remote sensors, but nobody is going down there on a regular basis. Nobody is monitoring what's happening inside these hulls as they slowly corrode. The deep ocean is essentially the world's largest unguarded archive, and everything humans have ever lost at sea, ships, cargo, weapons, artifacts, and people is down there, slowly being processed by an environment that doesn't care about any of it. The bacteria that eat the iron, the cold slows the decay, the pressure equalizes, and the ocean gets a little heavier. The last dive to the USS Johnston didn't just find a warship, it found the personal effects of hundreds of sailors who never came home. Boots and helmets and equipment stenciled with names at 6,456 meters in complete darkness, at a pressure that would kill you before you got anywhere near it. The remnants of the individual human lives are sitting exactly where they landed in October 1944. The ocean didn't just destroy them, it just kept them. And that's probably the strangest thing about all of this. We think of the deep ocean as a place of destruction where things go to be crushed, dissolved, consumed, and it is all of those things, but it's also, under the right conditions, one of the most effective preservation environments on Earth. It depends entirely on the depth, the chemistry, and at the rate of descent. And some things down there are gone, eaten by bacteria, collapsed by pressure, dissolved over centuries. And some things are perfectly intact, waiting in the dark, exactly where they landed. We just haven't found most of them yet.